in front of the Goodyear corporate offices here. Certain someone used to work at Goodyear for many years. So what was this like at 7:30, 8 in the morning?
Pretty crowded. And across the street, my buddy John Yerke called the kissing lane, where people would drop their wives or husbands off and give them a kiss goodbye. Right down there, you see the clock tower. My friend George Cabe used to ring the bells in there. They would play Christmas carols and stuff sometimes. And I worked in a building that was next to that caught fire and burned down. When my boss's office was being painted, they left paint in the room on the weekend, and it spontaneously combusted and burned the whole damn building down. And the guy's name was John Frame, but after the fire, he became John Flame.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say they thought he was Frame.
No, John Frame. Mr. Frame was 3 bosses over. He was a director.
I imagine there was more traffic. There's a lot of people working from home these days.
Oh yeah. Well, nobody's working here anymore from Goodyear. This building belongs to somebody else. They bought it when they built the new headquarters. But this is Goodyear Hall over here, and there's a theater in here that they're still using today. They put on some tribute bands and shows like that. And it's a nice theater. It seats about over 2,000 people, I think. It's real nice. This is Goodyear Hall, and then.
Is this where they used to have the World of Rubber, some kind of rubber museum?
Yes, they had the rubber museum in here. They also had a big gym with 3 basketball courts. They had a bowling alley at one time. Then they converted to a fitness center. It was a nice facility. This walkway was brick, and it's always been brick. And at one time it leaked real bad. Underneath there's a tunnel.
Oh, they had a tunnel to take things from like one building to the other?
The tunnel goes from the main headquarters over to Goodyear Hall. And so when they resurfaced the street, this started to leak where they had the bricks, so they got different bricks in there.
Okay. Hey, let's head up where the ice cream is. You in the mood for some ice cream?
The old corporate headquarters.
You do work in one of these buildings?
I work in the
on the right side?
Down,
okay.
And I worked in this building down at the far end up on the 6th floor. It gets confusing.
Okay.
But the first floor when you walk into the building is number 3. And there's 2 sub-basement floors.
Okay, so instead of going negative, they made those 1, 2, and 3.
The floor is number 3. And I worked on 6th floor. Actually, number 3 down here, but it's number 4 down here. Because there's 4, 5, 6, and 7.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, what happened is that end of the building, there's a lower floor. You can kind of see the bottom of those windows. And that was number 3. And then you went up a ramp, and this was number 4. Street level floor down at this end of the building is actually the 4th floor of the building. Well, I worked on the 6th floor all the way down at the last window on the 6th floor.
Okay, but now you've never been to any of these spots, right? There's a little brewery in here. There's a new restaurant in here. They redone the theater, as you said. It's really nice.
This was a barber shop when I was working.
Okay.
We had a guy that shined shoes in there. His name was Rufus. And when Bob Mercer, who was the CEO, came in to get his shoe shine during the Goldsmith takeover threat.
Oh, right.
Rufus gave this famous quote to Bob Mercer. He said, "It's Rambo time." So that was a quote attributed to Rufus, who's the shoe shine guy who was giving advice to the CEO.
It's the time to take care of business.
It was a Rambo time.
Okay, and they paid him off, from what I remember, Goldsmith. Gave him like $20
They
million to
bought out.
go away.
They bought out a lot of the stock that he had. He was going to take over the company and sell all the assets and piece it out and sell it all. And Goodyear wouldn't have been the company that remained for another 30 or 40 years.
Now this is a soul food place right here, and that's actually Mark's. That is, and they said that you can get chicken and waffles and whatever. Point out where you used to work then.
Third row up, which was the 6th floor. That corner of the building, the southeast corner, I was right there. That was right where our office is.
That third window up, or the very top window in the corner?
Third window. The top window was the data center.
Oh, okay. That third window up. Okay. So you weren't here. Good thing you weren't here before they put the ice cream in. Or you'd have been there all the time.
I'd have been broke.
You'd have been broke.
For sure.
So this is the gym entrance.
Yeah.
And I know you played some basketball in there. I remember going to your games back in the day. There's also a workout, like an exercise room in there.
They had a bowling alley, and they converted the bowling alley to a workout center, which had a little small running track and a lot of exercise machines in there. And that became a fitness center for Goodyear employees. But the gym was real nice. They had a giant full-size basketball court. They had a semi-professional team called the Goodyear Wingfoots that played here. And the one guy that was the coach of the Wingfoots actually coached the Olympic team.
Well, and I read a book on Akron history, and they said that the Chuck Taylor of the shoe fame actually hit his big shot in this gym. Playing, I think it was a Firestone no skids or
non-skids.
Something like that. And Chuck Taylor hit his big shot here and got famous, and then later started doing clinics and selling shoes on the side. Of course, later they sold the shoe empire to Nike. But this has some serious some Cager history.
They played in what was called the Industrial League. Then there was a Phillips 66 team, and Firestone had the non-skids, and Goodyear had the Wingfoots. Now, Firestone also used the name non-skid for their employee newspaper that came out once a week. Goodyear had the Wingfoot Clang, but Firestone had the non-skid. So, but their team was also the non-skid. Firestone had a gym that was up in the 3rd floor of their what they called the clubhouse at Firestone. And then they had a cafeteria up in there. I worked at Firestone for a while too. So
you were going to be an engineer back in college.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah, I was
doing drafting.
I was in the engineering department working at co-oping. And that was a fantastic job. The guys I worked with were fantastic. They used to tease me a little bit because I was just a young kid, 19, 20 years old. Coming in there working with all these World War II vets and that. And the guys, they teased me a little bit, but they were great. And that was Firestone at that time was a great place to work. Okay, between the Block Tower and the current Goodyear office building, there was another brick building where I worked. And our offices were on the 6th floor and the 7th floor on the western end of the building. And they had on the 7th floor, we had this room called the Blue Room. And in the Blue Room, we had computer equipment that we used for when we tested programs for the retail stores. Anyway, the equipment made the room very hot. The equipment kind of overheated and the room was hot. So they left the windows open in the room all the time. They were up on the 6th floor, so nobody was getting in, and it was the only way to keep the room cool enough to keep the equipment from overheating. So one time I came in on a weekend, and there were pigeons in there. They came in through the open window, and they were just crapping all over the place, all the equipment and everything. 2 pigeons were in there. So he went down to see the Goodyear policeman, and he came up and he tried to shoo them out, but they wouldn't leave. So he ended up shooting them with his pistol in the blue room. So
Oh my
he
goodness.
killed 2 pigeons in the blue room.
Did you guys have to file a report or something?
I don't know, because he used 2 bullets or pellets or whatever he had in his gun, but the pigeons wouldn't leave.